Hi, my name is Asher Hamilton. I am the coordinator of student engagement right here at 4Cs. We use 4Cs, but it's Cape Cod Community College. I'd like to invite you this afternoon for the Neighborhoods of Awareness. We're going to be talking about the first installment of some of the neighborhoods that you and I may have heard of, but we're going to talk about them today and over the several weeks coming up. Neighborhoods of Awareness really talks about the awareness of programs that we should know about. We're talking about things such as disabilities, we're talking about childhood violence, so forth and so on. Some of the nuances might circulate around the idea and notion of bias. Now, through this first season, we are hoping to create a sense of empathy, awareness, compassion, and concern for something bigger than ourselves. Now, I'd like to have you meet our guest, but let me tell you a little bit about her before we meet her. I will say to you that she's multidimensional. She's intelligent. She's an entrepreneur. She is a lovely woman, a mom, a community activist. How can I go on? But it just so happens with all of that she's Latinx. That's not the most important part of her. It's just one piece of her dimensions. I'd like to say this. Oftentimes, we have heritage months where we look at 30 days and we try to fit different communities into those 30 days. I will say to you, no community can be fit like a box period into 30 days. Before I go on any longer, I'd like Clara to introduce herself to you. Clara, tell me more about you.
Well, my name is Clara. I say always I'm from Spain, although I was born by accident in the United States. My father was working here and wanted to get married here. He's also from Spain. Couldn't find a wife. Started writing letters to a lady friend he had from Spain and convinced her to marry him without seeing him in 3 years. And they got married by power of attorney.
Oh.
She was only allowed to come here by boat and already married. So while she's here, they have 2 daughters and then they moved back to Europe.
Wow.
And I grew up in Europe, but I came back with the dream of following my father's steps, but with the advantage of having an American passport.
Nice.
So I come here, and I always say I'm from Chattanooga, Tennessee, and everybody goes, what? As soon as I open my mouth, they say no. Then I have to explain my story.
Exactly.
I started out in Washington, D.C., and then I moved to Rochester, and from Rochester I moved to Cape Cod. And I have grown a lot and have learned what life is here. And at the beginning, it was quite a cultural shock.
Wow.
On my side also, because I thought everybody here was like in the movies. I didn't know the melting pot that it is and that I belong to. Right. But at the beginning, not so much in D.C. D.C. was more, as I said, a melting pot and people passing through. Nobody that I met there was there to stay. It was like 3 years and then they were moving on. So we finally moved to Rochester, New York, and we moved into a little village that was all white, no foreigners, very little. And you wanted me to say incidents that I ran into.
Well, we talked about something early part of the week that was quite painful for you. And I think that it would be really important that you share those stories that you shared with me. I think there's a lesson to be learned.
Yeah, so the father of my kids has dark hair, he's white, he has blue eyes. So my mother has blue eyes too. There's again the preconception that all Spaniards have dark hair and dark eyes like I do. But every time I would walk my kids who happen to have blue eyes and are blonde, everybody, are you the babysitter of the family that just moved in? Are you the nanny? So I always have to explain, no, I'm the one that moved in there. Yeah. So that was always funny. I thought it was funny at some point, Then when school started, they were the only ones with a last name that was not Anglo-Saxon or German or They did well, but maybe I was too sensitive because as soon as they started, 2 out of the 3, I was called in to have a meeting about my kids, telling me that there were problems learning now. They were born here, so they didn't have any language problems. They were raised here.
Wow.
They didn't have any accent, but your child has ADD.
Wow.
And I would say, well, why do you think my child, oh, he moves a lot in class, he can't cut the scissors right. I said, but he's 5 years old. So with both of them, I just stood up. I said, I'm mad.
Wow.
There's nothing wrong with my child. And sure enough, they all have gone through high school, college, and they're independent, and they're doing great. There was nothing wrong with them.
Absolutely
I think,
wonderful. Wonderful.
But so I've had a very good life here in the sense that I have worked. I've taken all the opportunities that have come towards me. I like to dance.
Oh, wow.
I like to hike. I like to travel.
Nice.
I did a lot of camping with my kids, not so more anymore. Now I'm dancing. I dance a lot.
Nice. Nice. That's really good to hear. One of the things that I've noticed about our culture, it's difficult because a little bit of the story as I'm hearing it, what comes out for me is bias. You're such a beautiful woman, a vibrant woman, a woman who dances, who hikes, and has so much going on in their lives. There's nothing about you, what I would say, is single-dimensional. There's so many pieces to you. But one of the things I think is really important for our audience to think about, and maybe you can share that with us. What is your profession? What do you do professionally?
I'm a physician. I'm a pathologist.
Oh my goodness!
Yes, so.
Wow.
I love it. I love it.
And that's your passion.
It is. It is.
Nice.
Although now I'm getting to an older age, I want to do so many other things.
Nice. Tell us a couple of things that you want to do now.
I want to get more involved with the community. I feel like all my years have been in raising kids and concentrating in my job and living in this bubble. But I got very involved in my community through the Rotary. I formed a Spanish club. I formed a German club. An intercultural center now.
Exciting.
A language school. I just want to. I'm actually more in contact with people with my background.
Nice.
And people that came, and I see where I live right now, there's a lot of people that I have met through the Spanish club that have skills, but can't really show them because they don't speak the language.
Right.
And others that come just to grow. And I want to help them because I know now all the pathways.
The nuances of how to survive here in the U.S.
Exactly.
Wonderful. So, speaking to the audience, what I see here and what I hope that you have learned is that Clara is a really intelligent woman, a woman who's an entrepreneur, an activist, completely connected into being a humanitarian for her community and other communities. So I'd like to leave the audience with this question. What are some of the biases that you have grown up with or learned that have made you think you understand the Latinx community? I'd leave that with you. My name is Asher Hamilton, and I am the Student Engagement Coordinator with 4Cs. Thank you.